the unparalleled Xiao Tian. He fears most that his wife will discover his true strength. Having eradicated the organization that threatened the empire, he can only use a pseudonym to deceive the empress. Then, Xiao Tian pointed his sword with one hand and wrote fiercely on the ground in the valley. After completing this, Xiao Tian ascended to a sufficient height. He erupted with a terrifying speed, departing. Zhong Yangming looked up, clearly seeing Xiao Tian disappear. The air ruptured with visible fluctuations. Violent gusts of wind descended from above, pressing him down and nearly causing him to fall to the ground. Zhong Yangming still couldn't calm his inner turmoil. Xiao Tian's immense power had greatly shocked him. In this world, cultivators harness the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. In a sense, they use external forces to cultivate themselves. However, Xiao Tian does not have access to the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. He relies solely on the strength of his own body. After waiting for a moment, Zhong Yangming felt the ambient temperature was starting to drop. Moreover, a cold, ice-blue shield of light with an icy aura was rapidly approaching from the front. Zhong Yangming watched Zero Yan flying towards him. Couldn't help but sigh in comparison to the speed of the queen and the prince. Zero Yan arrived in front of Zhong Yangming. As she looked him up and down, she voiced her concern, asking if he was all right. However, her eyes inadvertently glanced at the situation on the ground in the valley. Her pupils suddenly constricted, exclaiming, "It's Yan Wang again." The empress turned to look at Zhong Yangming in front of her, inquiring about the situation. Zhong Yangming didn't conceal anything and described the whole story. Zero Yan listened silently to Zhong Yangming's words, her mood becoming increasingly solemn. The Black Soul Hall and Lu Outyan are not on the same side. She stared with wide eyes, unable to understand what Yan Wang was really planning. Zhong Yangming's face became heavy. It seems he aimed for the stability of the great Yan Empire. After listening to Zhong Yangming's words, Zero Yan nodded slightly. "Indeed, as you said." Then, Zhong Yangming offered the Nawu ring with both hands. "Your Majesty, the gifts from Yan Wang are here." Zero Yan accepted the Nawu ring, inspected the contents stored inside. Yan Wang is making a significant move. He truly wants to make the great Yan prosper. She thought about it and couldn't help but clench her hands. A sense of powerlessness crossing her mind. Even though I've reached this level in my cultivation, I still can't control my own destiny. I can't even refuse the benevolence of others. Zhong Yangming, who was next to her, looked at Zero Yan's appearance. His mouth twitched slightly. He thought about how you men want to avoid responsibilities after enjoying food, drink, and leisure. Zero Yan calmed down her emotions a bit, urging Zhong Yangming to return with her quickly. General Zhong and Zhongling are both very worried. The icy aura within Zero Yan surged again, pulling on Zhong Yangming's body, while Zhong Shangshu was flying in the air like a kite, looking somewhat comical. Inside the Zhong mansion of the Great Yan Empire, Zhong Lishuang leaned against the table in the courtyard, one hand covering her face, silently waiting for Zero Yan's return. Suddenly, Zhongling pointed to the figure descending from the sky. Her expression filled with excitement. Zhong Lishuang, upon hearing her daughter's shout, quickly raised her head. Her eyes immediately reddened with joy as she stood up. After landing on the ground, Zhong Yangming, looking at his wife's weary face, apologized with a hint of guilt in his words. Zhong Lishuang embraced Zhong Yangming tightly, apologizing for what she said yesterday. Zhongling shouted that they were getting too intimate, which led Zhong Lishuang to poke her forehead with a single hand. Zero Yan, not far away, watched this scene silently, a smile and a hint of longing on her face. Zero Yan murmured in her heart, "It's so nice that a family can be together and accompany each other."